Okay, y'all, we live. Hey, y'all, this is the Authentically Black podcast. I'm Dex.
And I am Donald Paris.
And I am Mia Simone.
Y'all, we got Mia with us today. Deja's not here with us, so Mia filling in for her today. And she's also going to be with us from time to time. So, just, chill with us today. Come talk to us. We're trying to get into a few topics. So we'll be talking about a few things today. So y'all come hang out with us and talk with us, see what we can get into. Okay, like I said, y'all, we're about to get into a few topics today. Y'all can come talk with us too, and let us know how you feel about these topics. We're going to go on 3 different topics, and we're going to get right into them real quick. Donald, we got a topic for y'all today.
How you guys doing? I want to say what's up to the community out there. So one of the topics that I want to talk about that we as Black people that we don't really like to talk about is one of those little sensitive topics in the Black community. I'm all for the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm all for what's going on in this generation. Or what I'm against is so many things that's been happening lately on the news where it's just people killing, our own people killing us. It can be gang related. Young people are dying. Innocent people are dying. And that when this got to stop, it has to stop. So it was just a recent story I saw it on Hollywood Unlocked. It was a man he lost his kids. He lost one of his kids through a gun violence. And then there was another situation in Chicago where more young people was dying, and these were little kids. These are little babies. And I know this has been going on for a long time. Since I know I was in Miami. Just random kids that's dying because of shootouts or whatever the case may be. So my thing that I want to tell to the people, we talk about all these different things. So my thing now is, what do we do in our community to stop these violence? These gun violence that's going on in our own community, and what do we do with that?
Well, this is how I feel about it. I just feel like Black on Black crime is something that needs to be controlled, and I do feel sorry about what happened to that little girl today. That was so sad. I think we just need to look at it from a bigger perspective because I believe everything starts at home, and a lot of situations have been going on now as far as with these a lot of parents not being on the same page with their kids. Just different things. Even education right now. Education right now is not in a good position right now because we're going through this whole global pandemic. So we got a lot of kids, got a lot of free time on their hands. So it's I feel like it starts at home. You need to, to talk to your kids and, talk to them and get them to understand different things once they get out into the world. And they'll see that once they get out there, there's consequences for everything that you do. And I just feel like people walking around here these days and not understanding that they don't have consequences for the negative energy that they put out into the world. They just feel like they could just go out there and just do anything.
I think it's even bigger than that if you think about it, because a lot of it is kind of gang related, and I don't like to say that, but it is. I mean, gangs are still around. I know that even where I'm from, that there was a young man who was shot down, and he was just getting his business started, and somebody took his life away for no reason, and that really bothered me. It bothered me to the core because this man is a young man who was trying to do something with his life, that somebody else comes through and kills him. Like, at some point, this has to stop. Like, the violence between each other has to stop. And I think that what we're missing is that leader. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Nipsey Hussle was doing so well. He was getting into it where everybody was really looking up to him. And then he was taken too soon. But everybody, they need another leader or somebody who can say, hey, yo, this is not good. We need to come together, and we're a bigger force when we unite. When we come together, we're not working against each other. Because if we think about it, it's still that same slavery mentality of, okay, well, I got to get you before you get me, all of this, dissension. And what even bothers me most is that people are they are representing a neighborhood that they don't own anything in. You are representing this neighborhood, and you getting mad at this other young man in this other neighborhood. Y'all don't own either one of these neighborhoods. See, what we need to be teaching them is how to own things so that you won't have to be killing somebody over nothing, you know? So that I think it starts with, it has to be someone to lead a movement, like a real movement who can be a leader that everybody can really follow and get behind. Because a lot of the even rappers or entertainers that try to be leaders, they're leaders when it's convenient. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're leaders only for a certain amount of time. And then they just kind of disappear or they fade into the background. No, that's not what we need. We don't need that. The world and the young people, they are really wanting a leader, like somebody that's going to say, "Hey, y'all, let's get together, let's do this." So that's my thought on it.
And
Sharanda just said that she says that father absence is the issue, and that's what I was saying too. I understand what you're saying as far as like a leadership, but it's like if you don't have that basis at home, like having a leader out in the world ain't gonna really mean nothing. That's how I feel, because I feel like the reason why the Black community is in such turmoil is because they don't have, like, fathers not being at home right now is at an all-time high, and they don't have no good foundation. You know, I was blessed to still have my father and my mom in my life, but they weren't in the same household. But I could still, you know, call my daddy and be like, you know, if my mama needed me to be punished or if I need to go through some type of, you know, disciplinary skills or whatever, he called and he would put me in check. And I was like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I can't do that because my daddy gonna get me. You know what I'm saying? But if you're out here in the world and you don't have nobody and you just out here and you know what I mean? And you don't have nobody to guide you and put you in the right direction, like that, that's the reason why most of these situations keep happening, because there's no father in the home majority of the time. They're just out here, and then majority of the time the mother's not going to discipline them like how the father should, because at the end of the day you need both of those bonds in order for you to cultivate you as an individual. In order for you, once you get out in this world, you understand that, hey, you know, everything out here ain't sweet. You can't go out here just doing what you want to do and have no consequences behind it. Everything that you do has a consequence.
But I also say that because the fathers are not in the home, we need an alternative. You know what I mean? There has to be an alternative. There should be
even like Big Brother programs, stuff like that.
Yes.
Like even or even like, you know, going to youth programs where you can talk to different people, where they can counsel you, like after school, because after school is when a lot of stuff happens. But I think they said it was between I forget what time it was, but once kids get out of school, that's when a lot of stuff happens, and they don't. Majority of the time, they just out here just roaming around with no place to go or not even a job to go to when they get out of school. Because I know
I'm gonna be honest, it ain't just kids that's doing the shooting either. Come on.
Yeah, it's not the kids. It's not the kids.
It ain't just the kids. Yeah, no, it's some grown folks out there who still doing it too.
These grown folks was once kids though, so you know that's why I'm like, you know, they grow up to be what they were taught in the home.
So my thing is this though, like, what is the respect though? Like, what's the respect? It's one thing if you have, gang violence related activity, but for you not to have respect for young kids that's playing in the playground or just minding their business at their house. And so where's the respect? If you're going after one person, you go after that one person. What happened to those days? Now it's just any random person, they're in the crossfire, because they're just doing whatever they want to do. Like, when does that stop?
You said when does what stop again?
No, what I was saying, like, when does that stop? You know, just randomly just shooting, and it's like bystanders are just getting shot. Like, you know, when does that stop? You know, so, you know, you can remember.
I don't believe
if it's gang related.
I don't believe it's ever going to stop, and I don't believe it's going to be in a situation where we can be like, oh, it's all good. We don't have to worry about people killing people no more. I don't think that's not going to be a case, because you're going to be living in a fairy tale land if you think that. But I think what we need to do is we need to go into these communities and we need to uplift our people and to get them to understand that this ain't the way to go. There's other ways out here that we can make it work. I know everything is built against us, but it's other ways that we can make our life work and other ways we can get ourselves together. And we don't have to keep taking each other down to make ourselves feel bigger.
I was going to say kind of the same thing. I think that it's going to be on us to make that change happen. Like what we were saying earlier about, you know, the different programs to help young people, you know, to not be on the street, an alternative, you know, So I think that it's up to us as a community to embrace each other. But I'm not going to say I don't see it happening, but it should. You know, I think that we should learn. And what's been happening lately with the marches and the petitions, that has actually been a good thing for us. But we just need it more, you know, in our communities, especially those communities.
I believe we can minimize what's going on, but I don't think we can erase what's happening, because at the end of the day, what we have to understand is there's always going to be crime, especially if you got a whole impoverished community where people are not educated and they're not given the tools that they need to survive and to excel in this world that we live in. Like, we're going to always have crime. That's why, like, I kind of like don't like the term black on black crime, because it makes people think, oh, we just out here killing each other, especially like every time they want to talk about Black people, they always want to relate us back to Chicago. All of us don't stay in Chicago. We stay all across the world, and we all different types of people. We don't all stay in Chicago. So, you know, what's going on in Chicago is very bad, and I understand what's happening over there. It needs to be corrected, but don't try to keep that as in the Black community and make it seem like we just all out here killing each other, because we're not.
Yeah, I do agree. We need to start holding people accountable in our communities and start calling a spade a spade. And I also agree about, even if he's not a good boyfriend or whatever, he can still be a good father. And women, we have to allow the fathers to be a father for our children. Right. So that's very important, because our kings are important. Our Black men is so important. No matter how we feel, no matter what they did, you know, to us, they're important for our children. So I definitely agree with what you guys said.
And I feel like that's true. And I believe you should not step into the middle of that situation. The child should have their relationship with the father, and the child should have a relationship with the mother. And those two don't go hand in hand at all.
Yeah.
And then I actually just said we need to start holding people accountable in our communities and start calling a spade a spade. And I do agree with that. We definitely do. We definitely need to figure it out. I'm just saying we just need to find a balance with this, and you know, and because I feel like a lot of people are using black on black crime as the way to be like, oh, it's okay for police officers to kill us, unarmed people, right. And I don't like that. Like, if we go talk about black on black crime, let's talk about that separate from these unarmed men getting killed by the people that are supposed to be the authoritative figures. They are the ones supposed to be in charge and de-escalate the situation, not go out and put a knee on somebody's neck just because, oh, hey, Robert killed what's the name over here, so I can go over here and kill him, his friend over here. You know what I'm saying? It don't make any sense. It's two separate situations, and we can't talk about them together. But
yeah, I agree.
But I'm gonna say this is nothing like that problem is not something that's got an easy fix. It's been going on for so long. It's going to take a while for it to be resolved, for it to even have a solution, you know, to start going towards something. It's going to take a while because it's been happening for too long.
Yeah, you got to understand the history of our people and what we've been through is like, for us to, like, you know, be in a position where we're not out there and be in an impoverished area and uneducated, you know, it's a blessing, because for us to still be able to survive and go through what we've been through, I don't think no other group of people could even go through what we go through and still be able to still stand and live their life on a regular basis and still have normal, sane minds. Because a lot of our people, they hurt and they need help. You know, just because I made it out doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for the next person. And
I would also say this.
Go back.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I also think that as a creator, that it's our responsibility to put things out there that helps them to be able to understand an alternative way of living. Like I think we've had enough gangster movies, you know what I'm saying, to glorify those things. Yeah. I think that we need to be able to put something out there in a positive way that speak towards unity, to let them know how important it is for us to come together. I always try to hold myself accountable for that. Like, whatever content I put out, it's got to be something that empowers the people. It got to be something that enlightens them, to inspire them, to help them to grow and let them know that it's important for us to stand together and stand strong. So I know, like, all the creators, all the entertainers, they need to be thinking about that and be conscious of what we're putting out there for the world, because these young people, they are looking at that and they're glorifying it. And all they're doing is, you know, doing that out in the street. And so we need to be the change we want to see. We need to be an example. We need to be putting out things that don't glorify, the gangster lifestyle or whatever that is.
Yeah, and I mean,
Right.
it's funny that you said that. As a creator myself as well, I think some of the challenges that we face. So it's a lot of creators that are thinking about doing the exact same thing, but what it is, you
Mhm.
got these people in power. They feel like that's not going to sell. Like
Right.
if you're doing conscious music, that's not going to sell. If you're doing this is not going to sell. So it's almost like it's an agenda. I mean, even with the George Ford movement that's going on now, I think it's a lot of things. These corporations are seeing that it's a shift that's happening now. So,
Yeah.
which is going to open doors for creators like us to bring in these positive content. And then it's
Yeah.
not just, oh, this is what's happening, because this has been going on. This been the agenda all along, is black people, they represent as thugs. Or the girls, they're more like prostituting their bodies, trying to take care of their kids. That's the narrative that's been going on for many centuries. So now it looks like it's a shift that's happening now. So when creators like us, or even upcoming artists, conscious rappers, all of that, so now we can go in and you can start seeing these things being created right now, because enough is enough. These people that's in power, that's been their motive, that's been the agenda,
Yep.
to oppress us as people. And we've just been, and people, of course, they selling them stuff, for some money, selling their soul, and they don't understand that they taking everybody else down with them, and they don't see the agenda. Because, like you said, back to what Dex was saying, when you have somebody in the ghetto, they don't have the money, they're in the lower class, and then you see somebody that's going to give you a contract for $1 million to sell your little soul, and you're willing to take that money because you don't have it.
Mhm.
And so now you
Right.
have a group of generation that's willing to follow that trend, thinking that's the right thing. And it's all about the mind. If they can take
Yep.
it through music, through the image, of course, even spiritual, we gotta, guide our ear gates, all these different things that we hear. And if we put all that in our spirit, it's going to manifest, and that's what's happening. This been going
Yep.
for so long, but I'm happy that we having this discussion right now, and these are things that we need to work on in entertainment, music, all over the place, all genre in entertainment.
Yep.
Okay.
We have to stop, buying into it. We gotta stop supporting that. We gotta stop supporting the
Yeah,
bad images that
we
are
got to control the
being
narrative
displayed.
ourselves. We got to control it ourselves.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're
Be the
gonna move
change we want to see.
to the next topic, so we can hear what you have to say, because I know you have a topic also that you want to talk about, so you can go ahead.
All right. So the topic I want to talk about is generational wealth. I've been looking into a lot of different things in regards to generational wealth, because I do have children and I want to be able to have wealth that I can pass down to their children and children. And I want us as a Black community to start having these conversations. Let's start talking about these things, because they're talking about it in other communities and we're not talking about it or embracing it enough in our community.
Mhm.
And one of the things, and this is going to sound a little crazy, but it's all right, because this is what it is. So I started this topic with one of my family members about why do we not have a life insurance policy on our grandmother? Because
Hmm.
at that time I was thinking, like, if we had a life insurance policy on our grandmother, then whenever she does pass, because all the old elders are passing away. We don't want them to pass right now, but as they get older, they are going to pass away. So if we had a life insurance policy, then the grandchildren, we could do something with that money. You know what I'm saying? To further the generations that's coming behind us, and then continue that. That's just one way of trying to monopolize as a family on how to control, like, the wealth within the family. Another thing I was looking at was um, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about how you can invest within your family, and we kind of touched on that before, Donald. I think about how you can invest within your family and how you guys start a account, and everybody every month put a certain amount in the account, so that you and your family will be able to, have funds that everybody can benefit from. So these are some of the things that I've been thinking about and some of the things I've been looking at when it comes to generational wealth. But also, what does generational wealth look like for your family? Because everybody's family is different, you know. And another thing that, you know, this guy touched on is how trust is so hard in a Black family. It's so hard to
Yeah,
trust
you're right.
somebody else. And he was talking about how it's easy for somebody to go to the bank and they charge you a 25-cent interest rate, and then you go to your family who won't charge you no 25% interest rate. Let's say they charge you a 5% interest rate. You like, oh, you trying to get over. But then you go to the bank and they charge you 25%. Like, who's trying to get over? You
Yeah.
got to help each other out. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a lot of things that we don't think about. Like, okay, if I give you a loan in my family, let's say you need $10,000. I give you a $10,000 loan with a 5% interest rate. You know, somebody that don't trust somebody gonna say, oh man, that's you trying to profit off of me. That's how we both maintain wealth. What are we talking about? But you're gonna do it over here. So those are the conversations I feel like we always stray away from, but those are the conversations we need to have. You know, those are the conversations I'm going to be having with my children. That's the conversations I'll be having with my nieces and nephews. Like, those are the conversations that are important for us as a community to continue to prosper. So that was I'm just kind of touching on it. I'm not going to go all the way into it, but I'm just kind of touching on it.
No,
I'm gonna pick back what you said, Mia, because it's so funny because as Black community, when we talk about life insurance policy, we talk about life insurance policy like it's a curse, you know.
Right.
So I don't know where that stigma come from, because I remember I had this
because you know, so crazy.
with my sister.
Until somebody said it to me, like it made me understand life insurance policy even more. It's like when you set a life insurance policy in your family, you're setting up the actual future for your relatives that you're leaving behind. Like, you gotta understand, you know, you probably you can't take everything with you, but on top of it, you do want your family to be set up when you're gone, and then on top of it, like, you want your family to be straight to where they can make moves in the future where they don't have to keep worrying about paying for a funeral that you had 10 years ago. So like, you creating wealth within inside of your family by doing that, by actually setting up insurance policies, you know, setting up any type of savings account for your family or whatever the way you might put it. Because I like how you did it when you were saying that, because a lot of families do that. I actually knew some of my friends that were not Black that did do that. Their family had money, and every time they got their check, they had to go to their mama and they deposit it into a certain account, and they all put their money into that one account. And then now eventually, within like a matter of like 2, 3, 4 years, they all bought a house together. You know what I'm saying? And then they moving on to the next, and they doing it again. They go buy another. They go keep going over and over, and they keep putting all this money into this account. And they go buy a whole other house again. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy. I wish I can like do that. And it's so crazy. Like, even like when I try to be like roommates with some friends or whatever, like, and we try to put our money together where we can like try to come to a common goal. Like in the past, like it always end up issue, like, because where one person like, oh, I'm trying to take for you, you're trying to take for me, instead of us trying to build together. And it's like, it's a mindset that, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I even had it sometimes too. Like, to be honest with you, I've had it at times where like, all right, why I'm over here doing this and they ain't doing this, and like, it's like more of like you trying to feel like they trying to pull you down because we're so far down. Like, okay, like if I miss my next payment, I could be on the street. So it's like, that's what goes on in your head sometimes, where you like thinking like, okay, I can't do this, I can't help you, I can't take care of you, and at the same time where I'm trying to build a future for myself. But you don't understand that the bigger the team is, the bigger the dream is.
Come on.
So the bigger the team, the bigger the people, the more people you got behind you. Like Tyler Perry is one person I look at all the time. All them people that he set up, they all got their own. They all can stand in their own right and go out and do their own thing without even being attached to his name anymore. And he brought all those people along with him. And without them, he wouldn't even be Tyler Perry. So it's like, we got to think about that. We can do more together than separate.
Come on. Donna, what was you saying too?
No, I was just pretty much was talking about like far as, you know, in the Black community, because I remember I was trying to get life insurance. I got life insurance policy, you know, and I was like, well, I want to put my sister or somebody as a beneficiary on my life insurance policy. So her thing was, oh no, don't put me as a beneficiary, because I don't want to think like that. I don't want to think like that because I don't want that to happen to you. It's like why are you talking like that? And so I say that to say that's how a lot of people think in the Black community when they think of life insurance policy, like as if I do a life insurance policy, that means you're gonna die tomorrow, and I don't want you to die, so I don't want to put that on there. So as Black people, we need to get out that stigma of thinking, oh, that's a curse, or you putting some type of bad energy out there. No, this is for the future. Tomorrow's not promised for nobody, you know. So you can die tomorrow, but if you would have had that life policy intact, everybody have the policy. If they want to do a funeral, that's taken care of. And also, too, when it comes to investment, if the person have a house, they can pay the house off. Somebody else can take over the house, and it goes on. And back to what I was saying, even with the life policy itself, I used to work for a company where we dealt with life insurance policy. Sad to say, most of those life policy that was written was not of African American or Black people. It was I'm talking about large policies. When I say large policies, I'm talking about $1 million policies, them $500,000, $700,000 policies. It was of other race. Black people had maybe $10,000, $15,000. So why are we settling for that? Get those $1 million policies, get those $500,000 policies, because, like you said, that's generational wealth that can help everybody with those $1 million policies. And this is so like I can go on the topic, but that was a good topic though. I really enjoy that, but we do need to have those discussions.
The thing about it is we are so skeptical of each other. It's like, how you gonna have $1 million policy on grandma? You trying to kill grandma? Ain't nobody trying to kill grandma. We want grandma a lot to live, okay? But grandma is 78 years old, okay? You know, like, you know, it's just that people always think that if you do put a life insurance policy on somebody, or even if you got a life insurance policy on you, that somebody trying to kill you. Like, ain't nobody trying to kill that person. Like, we just trying to make sure that in the future, everything's going to be covered. You know, like, I think that's another thing is fear. It's like we don't trust each other. It all boils down to trust. We don't trust each other enough to say, yo, I got you. And this just helps us for the future. But I think that's the biggest thing.
Just enough to get you in the dirt. That's sad. And that is true. Most people just think
that is true.
In the dirt. They don't think about beyond getting you in the dirt and setting the family up in the, you know what I mean? They don't think about that kind of stuff. And I didn't even think about it like that until Ashley just said it. That's true.
Yeah, and Ashley, she's right, because that's probably why they're getting those $10,000 life insurance policies, and that's selfish too for you as an individual to just get a $10,000 life policy where you could have put your nephew as a beneficiary, you could put your niece as
it's really not that much more money either.
It's not $10,000. It don't even pay your debt. It don't pay your student loans. It don't pay your medical bills. And then the person, if you're married, that person is left with those bills. So I think it's selfish too as an individual. I think me as my person, it's my responsibility as I'm living to put life insurance policy, to put whoever is in there. If I don't have any kids, then that's my nieces and nephews, right? And the list goes on. If I have kids, then those become your kids, your wife, whatever the case may be. But that's what we need to do. And those are conversations that, as I say, we don't do. I'm tired of seeing our Black people, somebody died, the whole family got to put money together to bury the person.
Or a GoFundMe. Or a fish fry.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. We need to get over that. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like the older people in our family, they don't want to give you the information so that you can do a life insurance policy on them. You're like, hey, you don't have to pay nothing. I'm gonna pay for the life insurance policy for you. You know, I just want to have something in place for whenever you do transition. Like, you ain't gotta pay nothing. Like, I ain't trying to, put a hit on you. I'm just trying to make sure that when you leave, that everything is gonna be paid for. Everything's gonna be good.
It is so crazy. A lot of these jobs, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of these jobs out here, you can get them on your job. They'll pay your family a few years' salary when you pass. Like, on your job, like at my job, I think it's like $2 a paycheck or something like that. And it covers my entire salary to pay my family out. You know what I mean? That's just at my job. Like, if you get other policies on top of that, you can make sure your family just covered all across the board. And just make sure they can understand that, hey, I'm not here no more, but I want y'all to keep moving on and use this money as a way to keep pushing forward and put our legacy out there as a family. And make sure.
I'm gonna say something. There, a lot of jobs have life insurance policy on their employees. I'm just gonna be honest.
They do.
They do. Like, somebody got into it with Walmart because they had like a $1 million policy on one of their employees, and that person died, and the family didn't have no money to bury them, and they like, y'all got this And they like, yeah, this is our policy because we just lost a worker. We got to cover what, he ain't going to be working no more. And that opened my eyes to like, dang, yo, the job cashed in on that. You know what I mean? And then we as a community don't even want to embrace it.
They only pay you $8 an hour.
Yep,
that's just crazy.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, but we want to stray away from it. We don't want to talk about it. Like, nah, let's talk about it. Let's be real. Let's prepare for the future. But that's what I was going to speak on that, and I was also going to speak on how important it is to pass knowledge to the next generation. Because honestly, my opinion is that the change we want to see is going to be with the next generation, maybe not even this next generation, the generation after that. So I think it's important for us to pour as much as we can into that generation, because I think that next generation is going to, they're going to blow this out the water. I think they're really going to be, like taking those laws down that used to hold us in bondage. I think a lot of change is going to be made. And I feel like we really have to pour the importance of unity to them, because a lot of times I have this conversation with, okay, why as a community we can't come together? Why we can't come together? And I never have an answer for that. But then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, you know what? We can raise this other generation to understand the importance of it. That way, because a lot of you can't teach the old dog new tricks. But guess what you can do? Pour into another generation and let them be able to understand what the importance is. And as long as we pour into them and they understand it, then that's when change is going to be done. Change is going to be made. So I think that was something I wanted to talk about and see what you guys thought about that.
But I agree with you on that. That's why, like, me and Donald was having a conversation yesterday, and because I ain't gonna lie, when I was growing up, I didn't understand I understood a little bit about the importance of credit, but I didn't really understand the whole picture. Like how all that stuff that you do in your past, it follows you. No matter, once you're 18, it comes with you. And we were sitting here looking at our credit because, we're trying to get our, life together for our future. And I'm looking like, okay, like I got all this stuff here, here, and here. And then he's telling me ways to get this stuff off my credit. But I'm like, okay, damn, I could have went somewhere and paid, thousands of dollars to get that information. And you just gave it to me for free.
Right.
But a lot of people be scared to give people free information when it's out there and available for all of us. When you go on out here and you got to pay somebody for something that you can really do yourself,
Yep.
No,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say, what you were saying is like that's what we do in our community. Is that if we have, it's like crabs in the bucket. So if you have knowledge and information to teach somebody wealth and to teach them how to advance, they're going to leave that information to themselves. They'd rather see you struggle. They'd rather see you trying to make it and pay millions of dollars to somebody else, thousands of dollars, I should say, to somebody else. And you could have got that. They could have provided information less than a couple of seconds, and they don't do that. And so, and that's what's going on. So it's just a lot of crabs in the bucket. So
I'm the kind of person, if I find something out, I'm calling everybody. I'm calling as many people I can call. I'm like, yo, I just figured this out. You need to do this. It's going to make this work for you. It's going to make it work for all of us, especially if we friends and we around each other. You should want your friends to do well, especially like, why would you want your friends see your friends struggling when it's something that you did that helped you out that can possibly help them out, and probably in a better way than it helped you. And I don't understand that when people don't tell people and teach people things like, I'm willing to teach people how to do taxes. I do taxes, and I'm willing to get people to understand how taxes work. It's a game that you can use to help you understand your finances and make you understand that you don't have to pay all these taxes back every single year. Like, they make deductions and credits for a reason. That's why they're out there. As long as you legally use them, they're available for you to use. But a lot of people don't understand that, and it's a game that I'm just gonna call a spade. White people have been hit to the game for years, and it's just they've been hit to that game for years. I used to work at Sprint, and I worked in the business department, and I used to see these people call in. They have good standing businesses, but on the account they got the daughter as the secretary, the brother as the accountant. They got the whole family listed on their thing. And people don't understand that those are tax write-offs. That they're writing off all of these taxes. They're not paying any type of fees for all of the stuff that they're doing. All of it, and people like saying, oh, they going all taking all these trips. When these people go on trips, those are not trips. Those are business trips. Those are tax write-offs. Anytime they go outside and drive their car and put miles in their car, that's a tax write-off. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand that everything that you do is a deduction. If you actually have a good standing business, you deduct everything that you can deduct because you actually are. The government incentivizes small businesses. And so with that being said, you can legally claim deductions on your taxes to allow you to where you don't have to owe the government, or you could probably even get a refund. People always thinking, oh, I got to have kids to claim on my taxes. Oh, I got to do this. Man, I done people got up to $100,000 a year, and I get them a refund every year. You know what I'm saying? And it's legit. You can legally do that because you have a good standing business. You work out here and you out here trying to make a business for yourself. Anything qualifies as a business, whether you know it or not. You can work you don't even have to have an EIN number to have a business. You can work under your social security number having a business. You do not have to have an EIN number. That's the one thing that people don't understand. You can work under your social security number and say, hey, I was selling clothes on Instagram. I was out here modeling for this modeling agency. I was just doing whatever, even driving Uber. That is in Lyft. That is a business within itself, and you can claim all that on your taxes. Because when Uber sends you out your W-2, they don't send a W-2, they send a 1099.
Right.
And that's the difference. The W-2 and 1099 are two separate things, and because you are legally working for yourself because you're using your own vehicle to work. But that's why I keep trying to tell people that's a part of what you was talking about with the generational wealth thing. Like that's a part of the game too that people don't understand. Like you should, like, especially if you out here working and you doing business for yourself, you should not be paying the IRS that money. You make sure you deduct everything off of that and you keep your receipts and all of that.
Yep, and that just piggybacks on us not having that information, because I didn't have that information until I went to a Black woman tax preparer. She was the one who hit me to all of that. She was like, "Nah, girl, that's a tax deduction. That's a tax deduction." I was like, I didn't know any of this because we don't grow up with this knowledge. Nobody tells us this, and I know in my community it wasn't told, but I feel like it's important to tell the next generation. Like, okay, well, everything that I wasn't told, I'm making sure I tell my children. I'm making sure that I tell my children's friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make sure that this other generation knows what was held from us. You know, like, yo, if you know something, help somebody. You like help somebody else. Tell somebody about it. And I think that's piggyback on what Donald said, that crab-like mentality that we don't want to help each other. I think somebody put down there, each one teach one. I think it was Sharanda. That's exactly what needs to happen. You learn something and you help somebody else along. That way that we don't have to continue to make the mistake that our parents made. You know what I mean? Like we got to be able to prevent that for our children and our children's children.
Right, exactly. Yep. And that's why I say, like, even though I prepare taxes, I tell people, this is how it works. If you want me to actually sit down and show you how to do the form, I can sit there and show you how simple it is. And people make it seem like it's just like unknown math or science. Like people really think that that's just how it works. But you can literally sit down and do this shit yourself. Like it's really not that hard. And go through where you don't have to pay nothing on your tax return and you can get money back without having a child. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't understand that, but when they get down to it, it's like more of they just don't want to sit down and take the time to figure it out. It's more of just do it for me. And I want you to understand this information because you're going to have to tell your child about this one day. Like I'm only one person. I can only tell so many people. I want you to go out here to pass this information out to everybody so they can know that you can legally do this every year on your tax return. And I'm not trying to withhold that information. I want people to know that this is available to us and it's a resource that you need to utilize and it's going to make your life even easier.
Welcome back, Donald.
Yeah. Yes, well, I mean, I'm happy. The conversation was still going on, but yeah, my phone, but I'm back. So, okay. Yeah, so on that note,
we're going to go to the next topic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is the final topic for the night, y'all. Well, we're going to be back again here pretty soon. We try to do this more regularly than once a night, so that's why we're back here again. But the final topic that we're talking about right now, some girl said, let me see what she said first. She said, you don't have to pay H&R Block to turn on the file up. And you're right, you don't. You can do that. You can do it yourself. those five, and it's so crazy. Those, a lot of people don't understand those forms that you see on Tax Act and on H&R Block's website that they charge you to use. Those same forms are available on the IRS website for free.
Yep.
Those same exact forms. The only thing that they're doing is they have a computer that goes through and inputs all those numbers for you, which actually is done on the IRS website. But all those forms that come out every year, because they're released on the IRS website, and H&R Block and Tax Act and all of them go to those websites and take those forms and put them on their website and charge you to use their search engine or whatever. And they make billions of dollars off of that every year. But yeah, you're right. You don't have to pay H&R Block to fill out your form. You can do it yourself. Just make sure you're putting down the right deductions, though. That make sure you understand how the deductions work, and you make sure you're not cheating yourself out of any deduction that you may qualify for. And make sure you look every year, because the regulations change every year. The credits change every year. Make sure you look every year when the IRS releases that information. You go check to see what they have out there and what's available, because it's new credits every year that are available. I think last year you got like $1,000 credit for having an energy mobile car. Like, it's all kind of stuff out there that people don't know about, but just make sure you check every year and make sure you're not cheating yourself, because they do have amendments available, but you want to make sure you just do it all in one shot where you don't have to go back and amend your tax return. But yeah. So we're gonna move to the next topic. The next topic is about the coronavirus. I know a lot of y'all, because school is approaching, and a lot of people are on the weary side of letting their kids go back to school. And the government is enforcing it in certain states where they're saying that they would pretty much even fine you for not allowing your child to go back to school. I don't have like a big spiel on it, because I'm sure a lot of y'all understand what's going on with that right now. But I wanted to get y'all insight to figure out how y'all felt about it. And do you feel like kids should go back to school, or should we continue this online schooling thing, or should we just wait until coronavirus is over? Like, how do y'all feel?
I honestly feel like it should be the decision of the parents if they want to allow their kids to go back, and especially something like that, because they can't even control the flu, yet they're going to want to control coronavirus, a virus that nobody don't know all the information about, and it's still a trial. It's not no vaccination for it. It's so much things that we don't know. We're clueless about it. We don't know how it's going to impact not just the kids. You can also think about the teachers, that's around these kids. It's just a domino effect. Of course, I can understand why they want to open back school, because it's more of a money thing. Because we think about a cafeteria, it's a domino effect with the food industry, all of these different things. So many people are being impacted. So at the end of the day, it's really about the money. It's really about the money at the end of the day. They want to use that. They want to use them cafeterias. They want to have the food in the cafeteria. So if it's no schools, that's the number one food production is school cafeteria. All those kids eating the food. So if that's happening, if that doesn't happen, it's going to nationally hurt the economy. If you don't have any concerts, if you don't have no movie theater, all these different things, it's going to be something going to happen with the food chain. And then now you have a domino effect of those people losing their jobs, and the list goes on. So it's one of those decisions the government official got to say, can we take the risk of a couple of people dying versus us losing trillions of dollars? So that's kind of where they're at right now. So I would say the decision should go back to the parents. If the parents want to allow those kids to go to school, if they want to homeschool those kids, I think if they talk about stimulus, I feel like they should give a certain amount of money for those parents that are that do have those kids at home, give them some money for, or at least they should split it. At least do that. At least don't have all the kids, at least, like, let's say if the class is 30 people in the class, you want to make sure you have social distancing going on in the class. Make sure it is a better plan. I don't think they have a good plan in place at this moment. I don't think they do, because they don't have a good plan just for us. The different states don't have good plans. First, they say
they're leaving up to the states to figure it out, and I think that's what's really kind of making it so confusing, because I feel like it should be a straight set thing for everybody, not you letting all these different states open up and close. It's too confusing, and it's too much going on, because we still can travel from state to state, and the virus is still spreading. So I just feel like it needs to be something where the president, and he needs to make the decision instead of trying to it's like he put the bait out for them and they took it. Like, oh, now we can open up, we can make sure we make our money. And it's like, he don't want to be held responsible if something really happens. If something happened in Florida, he can be like, okay, well, what happened? Who's the governor? You know what I mean? He didn't want to take responsibility for that, so he pushed it off to the states. Like, in other countries didn't do this. They didn't do what we're doing right now. All this essential, all this stuff that we got going on is really weird, and it's kind of crazy at the same time if you really think about it.
And that's what happened when you have poor leadership too. Because if my understanding, with the Obama administration, not to get into politics and all of that, because it's politic at the end of the day. But for me personally, I feel like when Obama was in office, he had a pandemic, department. So they already had that in place. And so when the new administration came in, they fired all those people. So my thing is, you had people in place for these type of situations. And so now we have people that's in these positions. They are not knowledgeable. They're not experienced. And obviously
they don't want to take responsibility, and they want to make it seem like they're doing so much when they're really not. It's like they're doing more harm to the economy than anything. I just think Trump is just one of the worst presidents this country has ever seen. He just, I'm just gonna give it to y'all straight up. He's one of the worst president in history, if not the worst. Because I ain't seen the ones before the other ones, but I could say he probably is one of the worst presidents that we have ever had in this entire history.
Well,
and this has
there was another one. There was another one. That's how the Great Depression happened. But I won't get all into that.
He's probably up there. He up there.
Yeah, he definitely is. But what I was going to say about the school thing was, I'm myself personally, I'm going to be teaching my kids at home because I don't want them to go back to school yet. I know that the school that my kids are going to, the parents have an option whether to take their kids, to let their kids go back to school, or to do it online. And I'm choosing for my children to do it online at least until January 2021. Let's see how this goes. My kids ain't gonna be no test dummies. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't know what's about to happen, but it ain't gonna happen to my babies. Just gonna say that. So right. I think it should be an option up to the parents. If the parents don't want their children exposed to that, then that's their right. Well, what they have in place is they want your child to sit. They got to have their desks like 6 feet apart or something like that. So I don't understand how the classroom is going to work because the classrooms aren't that big. So how is each desk going to be, apart? Like I don't know, like the different things that they said they were going to be implementing. I don't understand how it's going to be possible when in public schools the funding has already been, scarce. So there's a lot of things, like a lot of kids are forced into one classroom. Like 40 kids in one classroom. So how are the desks going to be 6 feet apart? It ain't possible. It's not gonna happen. So it's a lot of stuff that they're saying they're gonna do, but I don't think that they don't have the resources to really do that, and that they're just gonna be testing it out, and they ain't gonna test it on my babies. Nuh-uh, not over here. So I think that online it's gonna suffice for my children at least for the first semester. But I was reading that what that one lady said that a lot of urban children do probably need to go to school because they don't have a parent in the household that can make sure that they do the online work. I do understand that aspect of it as well. That's why I said that it should be on the parent to make that choice. So if the parent is not there to be able to help the child do the online, the child still needs education. So
either way it goes, I feel like education still needs to happen. I just think, it should be up to the parents. It shouldn't, the government should not decide what people do with some kids that's not theirs. I just think that's ridiculous that some people were saying that they're going to start finding people. How are you going to find somebody for their own kids? I just thought that was ridiculous. But
let's be honest, we have some bad parents out there. So
yeah, we do.
We do got some bad parents who need direction.
The last one, it's the kids that don't have no parents at the home. They need to take they behind the school.
They do.
They need to go to school.
And that goes back to what I was saying. They can do half and half a day of schooling and another half go into school or something like that. So maybe they can do a half, which is half the population of the student body. Then you have another half that comes in at this time. Maybe that would work more like a split schedule instead of saying you have them in for 8 hours with the whole student bodies in the school where you have a bigger population of kids. So maybe they need to think of something like that. Maybe for those who don't have access to those internet and that doesn't
would be
have
great.
that.
Yep. So because there's no way that you can do social distance when you got all them kids coming back to school.
And then what they said, they moving around a lot.
not even possible.
Like, are they going to keep the kids in one location, or are they going to be still moving around as if it's a normal school day? Like, are they going to lunch still and going from first to second period and stuff? They doing all of that stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, that's too much. That's too
That's
much.
too much. I mean, they can't. You can say that y'all gonna try to do social distancing, but come on now.
Now we creating a whole nother situation now. Like, now it's not just at the job that we are catching coronavirus. Now you're about to hear about these kids catching it at school, and it's going to be all over the news. Oh, 5 kids caught coronavirus at this school. They shut it down for a week. 5 kids caught coronavirus over here. It's like, where does this even end? Like, is there even an end to this? This is like, I ain't gonna lie, it's like kind of, it's like almost driving me crazy. Because like I tell people all the time, like, this has been like one of the best, worst years of my life. Because I ain't gonna lie, like, a lot of the stuff that's been happening, like, I still found blessings within what's going on, but it's like, cause still people out here dying before the virus, so it's like you can't ignore that fact. Like, it's stuff still going on. People are still dying. They still don't have a vaccine. The CDC still confused. Like, at this point, I keep telling people, like, I'm not listening to nothing the CDC say at this point, because they really do not know. They do not know. They don't even know masks really to stop the coronavirus from working. Because first they said, oh, only the doctor should wear masks. Now, oh, everybody should wear masks. Now, wear gloves. Now, sanitize. It's like, they really do not know. They don't know. They still to this day really do not know how this virus is transmitted. Like, and they keep trying to find ways to make it seem like it's okay, but it's not okay. That's why, like, I picked this topic, because I'm like, okay, y'all finna put the kids in jeopardy now? Like, come on now. We can't do this to the babies now. It's one thing for the kids to go back to work. But
I would let my kids go back if they do a whole quarantine shutdown for 28 days. If they shut the whole country down for 28 days and can't nobody go nowhere, and then a school open up, then I'll let my kids go back. But that ain't gonna never happen, because they ain't about to shut nothing down for 28 days. But if they was, then I would be like, okay, my kids can go back, because whoever had it was in the house, and they did what they needed to do, and it ain't gonna be spreading no more. But they ain't gonna shut the whole country down for 28 days. So
they're not gonna do it, because everybody was in an uproar when we did it. But how long we did it last time? It wasn't even a week.
It wasn't even a week yet. People was having protests.
It wasn't even that long. And they just, next thing you know, Donald Trump said we can open stuff up. They just opened everything up left and right, because it really was working. I think what we had going on was fine, even with just the essential stuff, because other countries didn't even have the essential stuff. But even with that, I think everything was fine. We should have kept it the way that was, and versus just opening everything up and allowing people just go out here and just do what they want to do.
That's why it's not being controlled. That's why it's still ongoing and ongoing. But I'm like, okay, when China had it, China shut everything down. They shut down their borders. They shut everything down. Nobody could go nowhere. They was able to control it because they shut everything down. You gotta shut. It's more beneficial to shut everything down for 28 days and then open it up, instead of just, okay, we're gonna open it up and see who get it and who don't get it. Like, no, that's no, you can't control it that way. You only can control it by shutting it down and then be over with it. Like, let it be over. I just wanted to be over.
It gotta be over.
and like I said, it goes.
Oh, this is a question I'll go ask too. Do y'all really see it? When do y'all see an end to this? Do y'all even see an end anytime soon? Like, is there an end to this? Do you think we could go ride this out for the rest of 2020?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going anywhere, because they lied and said that when it's hot, the corona's going to go. It's been 100 degrees.
That was Trump who said that.
And we still have corona outside.
Who said that? Said when the summertime hit. No, he killed me though when he was talking about that Clorox. When I tell you when he was talking in Jade and Clorox, I wish I had the video to play. Man, when he said inject the Clorox, I was like, okay, yeah, this dude really is stupid. He ain't playing. He really is stupid.
It ain't going nowhere. And that's a sad reality. Because when they did the simulation last November, it killed 65 million people in that simulation when they did the corona, if it was an outbreak and all of that. So they already knew what it would look like. And it's like they knew what they needed to do and they chose not to. So it ain't going nowhere. They about to riding it out. And that's a sad reality.
I feel like at this point, it's like people just going to get immune to it. Either you're immune to it or you ain't, and it's going to just keep taking people out. My sister, her coworker, just died from it today. She was 42 years old, and I was like, that's sad. Like 42-year-old, that's not even that old. 42-year-olds dying from the coronavirus. You
I mean,
know.
Donald, you almost 42. Like, it's not that old.
Don't do
I'm
that
just
to me.
saying. I'm just saying he's not here.
Don't put that.
Yeah, but I tell people all the time, the world will never be the same after this. Even if they find some type of vaccine or cure from it after this, the world will never be the same. It's going to be
No.
so much different from now on out. So much different.
And people don't even take it serious until it affects somebody that's close to them or somebody that they know. And then, because a lot of people be like, I don't believe in the corona. And then somebody died in their family. They like, hold on. Yeah, hold on, because you need to protect yourself. Like, don't, just because it ain't happened around in your area don't mean that people ain't dying from this. People are dying from this.
Yeah. I do believe it is real. It's just, it hasn't affected a lot of people, and that's why they still out here just doing what they want to do. It's just now it's like it's coming to a point where it's really about to be a pandemic for real, for real. Like they already said that first wave was bad, but this second wave, it's gonna hit harder than most because people, they are going out here and they want to be like, no, I have a right to do this, I have a right to that. You know, America's pro-choice, you know, all that stuff, and everybody fighting the system that you can't even put out there no more. Everybody, because now they done made it okay for everybody to just make their own decision, to make their own choice. And it's sad, but you know, we're gonna continue to talk about this more. I'm sure this is not gonna be the last time we talk about this because coronavirus is definitely here to stay. So it's gonna be, and then they already said there's a second strand coming out. So I know we're gonna have some more conversation in the future about this. But I guess we could just go ahead and wrap the show up right now. We definitely went a little over time, but it was still a good conversation. I'm glad. This video is going to be available on our YouTube channel on the Authentically Black podcast. So make sure y'all subscribe to there because we'll be putting more content out. And hopefully we'll have Mia back again if she, you know, whenever she's free, she can come back and talk to us again. But we appreciate you for having you, Mia, and we, you know, hopefully you can come back because I like the conversation you had with us today.
Oh, definitely. I'll definitely be back. You guys are awesome.
All right, y'all. Make sure y'all check us out on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate y'all for coming. I'm Dex Jones.
I'm Donald Faris.
And I'm Mia Simone.
And we out, y'all.